Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
Alright, Nick Webb knocks out Erik Pheifer in 2 rounds. This was a fun little fight. It was intriguing to me because when they announced Nick Webb versus Pheifer, I was like, oh, Pheifer, he was the guy who was meant to fight Daniel Dubois, but that fight didn't happen during the summer for reasons I'm still not 100% aware of. It wasn't to do with you know what. It wasn't to do... I can't remember exactly. Pfeiffer's team were quite annoyed because they said it was Team Warren who apparently, I forget exactly the reason behind it, to be honest with you, but apparently it was bizarre. That's what I do remember. And he was meant to fight Daniel Dubois. Pheifer had a decent amount of amateur fights. He'd fought, I believe, at the World Series of Boxing. And, you kind of thought to yourself, okay, that would have been an interesting fight against Dubois. They announced this fight out of the blue. Pheifer against Nick Webb. Now, Nick Webb is a fighter who I've seen a lot of. A good domestic level, fighter. I think that's fair to say. But been knocked out by Dave Allen in 4 rounds a couple of years ago. And subsequently came back, had a comeback fight against Kamil Sakalowski, who is a very, very good journeyman. Was absolutely levelled in 2 rounds. So you kind of looked at that and you thought, oh gee, Nick Webb, never exactly in the best of shape. Punching power is there for Nick Webb, but in terms of punch resistance, it seems to be about as useful as a 2-pound note. So you kind of looked at that and thought, that makes it competitive, because Pheifer, although he was a decent amateur, hasn't looked exactly amazing as a pro, but what kind of level is he on? Would it be on Nick Webb's level? Because Nick Webb hasn't really done much since the loss, apart from the Ultimate Boxer. But then again, the level of opposition in Ultimate Boxer is never particularly good. It's a bit like prize fighter. You always have like one against, lesser. So I had a look at this fight. The first round was... They didn't feel each other out, I'll put it like that. They came out swinging, and it was interesting. I expected... I wanted to see what Pheifer looked like, in there on the big occasion, because I thought, okay, maybe he's going to be able to outbox Nick Webb for a bit, and then, test his chin, etc., etc. But knowing that Pheifer had been down, I believe, in one of his previous fights, it kind of had me thinking, if Nick Webb tests his chin... They were kind of all over the place in the first round. It was a good first round. They were throwing a lot of shots, but they were both kind of a bit all over the place. It was very sloppy. Start of the second round, Nick Webb actually landed. It looked glancing, but it did get through. It didn't land with full power, but it was enough to buzz Pheifer. Noticeably was a right hand by Nick Webb, and he never fully recovered from that. Nick Webb jumped on him thereafter, and it was I think it was a left hook. It was marginally blocked. It didn't look like it landed flush thereafter, but it was enough to put Pheifer down. Nick Webb has many flaws, right? But punching power isn't one of them, all right? And that's what I say. You could be a domestic level fighter, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, as I always say. You could not have great punch resistance. You could not be the most sophisticated fighter in there, but hit someone with your best shot, you'd be knocking out Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. Sort of way, like, I'm not saying Nick Webb would do that, but if he landed flush with his best shot and he had one crack at their chin, he could knock them guys out. Definitely seems to have punching power. He followed up with another knockdown, which was a right hand that put Pheifer down. Again, Pfeiffer's own punch resistance doesn't seem to be amazing, although Nick Webb does hit pretty hard. And then the final knockdown was a straight right hand. It was a 1-2. I think back to it there. And Pheifer went down, referee waved it off correctly. Pheifer was going to end up getting himself hurt. It does beg the question, why didn't this fight with Dubois happen back in the summer? Because based upon what I saw there, Daniel Dubois would have took Erik Pfeiffer's head clean off his shoulders. I would pick Daniel Dubois over Nick Webb, personally, even now. And maybe they'll look at that fight for Daniel Dubois as a potential comeback fight, because Nick Webb is a big puncher. Nick Webb has fought Joe Joyce in the amateur. That was a very good amateur fight when he fought Joe Joyce. Maybe they'd look at matching him with Nick Webb as a comeback fight potentially, because Nick Webb, he is limited, but he can punch. There's that element of danger there. This was a good opening act, I mean, I was intrigued by this fight. It was intriguing to me because it just came out of the blue. They just kind of announced it, and I'm all for heavyweight fights. The more heavyweight fights, the better. I enjoyed watching it, and fair play to Nick Webb. It's a nice win. He's getting on the comeback trail. He's rebuilding after that dreadful 2018. In 2018, he lost to Dave Allen, had a comeback fight against Sakalowski, lost that. He's on the road to recovery now, Nick Webb, and this will only do him the world of good. I want to see I I want to see Nick Webb. You know, he's fun, he's entertaining. He might not be a world beater, but he's definitely going to be entertaining fights. So, you know, hopefully he gets some paydays off this. And like I said, Dubois against Webb, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Whether they can get that done or not is remains to be seen. God knows. But fair play to Nick Webb. Nice way to start this card. Lads and lassies, you should be seeing plenty of me over this evening. Plenty of me. So, for now, I'll talk to you. Peace.